you're going to begin by making a slip knot. Make a chain of 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. And into the second chain from hook, you're going to make a half double crochet and a half double crochet in the next chain, and you're going to place half double crochets into each of the chains across. So you place half double crochets into each of these chains until you reach the very last chain. So when you arrive the last chain, you're going to go in with 5 double crochets. 1, that is 2, 3. Into that third one, you're going to place your stitch marker. So you're going to finish the 5 half double crochets, 4 and 5. So that's going to be the top of our bra cap. And now you're going to continue placing half double crochets into each of the chains across. You'll be imitating what you did on this other side. Just go in with half double crochets till the last chain. I'm arriving the end. I have 2 stitches left. I'll place my last 2 half double crochets into the last stitches. So this is how your work should look like at this point. For the second row, you're going to turn your work. You're going to be working to the opposite direction. You'll chain 2 into the next stitch. You're going to go in with half double crochet. So for the next row, you're going to turn your work and we are going to work into the opposite direction. You'll chain 2 into that this 2 will not count as a stitch, so into that very stitch where this chain 2 is attached, you'll go in with a half double crochet, and then you're going to keep placing half double crochets into each of the stitches until you reach where the stitch marker is. you just go in with half double crochet, and when you arrive the stitch marker, you'll take it out, and into that stitch you're going to go in with 3 half double crochets. That is 1 and 2. Into that second one you'll place back your stitch marker, and then finish the half double crochets. That's 3, and you're going to continue placing half double crochets into each stitch till the very last stitch. Okay, I'm arriving the end of this row and I have 1 stitch left. I'll make my half double crochet into that stitch, and for the next row I'm just going to turn my work. I'll chain 2. It does not count as a stitch. Into that very stitch I'm going to go in with half double crochet and half double crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet into the next stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch, and in the next, until you're going to work half double crochets until you reach the stitch marker. I'm arriving the stitch marker, and into that stitch you're going to go in with 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, mark the second one, and 3. Continue with half double crochets into the rest of the stitches. Continue with half double crochets till the last stitch. Arriving the end of the row, I will place my half double crochet into that very last stitch and turn my work. Chain 2, does not count as a stitch. Into that very stitch you're going to go in with a half double crochet and half double crochet into the rest of the stitches until you reach the stitch marker. Arriving the stitch marker, into that stitch you go in with 3 half double crochets. 1, 2, mark the second one, and 3. Continue with half double crochets all the way to the last stitch. Okay, so I'm going to let you finish this bracket. You will make a total of 8 rows. So I'll get back to you once we have the 8 rows. Just continue placing half double crochets and turning your work. When you arrive the stitch marker, you place 3 half double crochets and then you continue with the pattern. So when you have your 8 rows, I have 8 rows of half double crochets. Now for this next row, which is the 9th row, you're going to turn your work. At this point, this is how your work should look like. You'll chain 3, you're going to skip the next stitch and you'll double crochet. You'll skip the very next stitch and double crochet into the 3rd stitch, chain 2, skip the next one and double crochet into the next. So basically you're going to be skipping 1 stitch and double crocheting into the next, chaining 2 in the middle. Chain 2, skip 1 and double crochet in the next, chain 2, skip 1 and double crochet in the next, chain 2, skip 1, double crochet in the next. It is going to create that mesh pattern. Now go ahead and keep doing that until you reach the stitch marker. When you arrive the stitch marker, you'll take it out and into that stitch, of course you'll chain 2 into that stitch, you'll go in with 1 double crochet, chain 2 and 1 more double crochet into the same stitch, chain 2, skip the next stitch and double crochet into the next. And you're going to continue that to the end of this row. I've arrived at the end of my row. I'll chain 2, I'll skip the next stitch and double crochet into that very last stitch. You're going to turn your work. You'll chain 1 and double crochet into that chain 2 space 3 times. Single crochet into the next stitch. And into the next chain 2 space, you're going to go in with 3 double crochets. Into the next chain 2 space, you single crochet. Three double crochets in the next chain 2 space. And single crochet into the next chain 2. So you're going to continue this all the way to the last stitch. When you arrive the middle point at the top of the bracket, you're going to single crochet into that chain 2, and then you're going to make a very long chain of about 100. Once you have the 100 chains, you're going to go into the back loops. You will turn your chain and go into the back loops only with single crochets. So into the second chain you'll go in with a single crochet, and you're going to place single crochets into each of the chains. So what we are this chain is going to be our stripe. So just go in with single crochets into each and every stitch until you reach the very first chain. So go ahead and do that. I'm arriving the end of the chain. I'll place a single crochet into that last chain, and I'll single crochet back into that space. Now we are going to repeat what we have been doing on this side. Into that next chain 2 space, you'll go in with 3 double crochets, single crochet in the next, and double crochet 3 times in the next. Do that until you reach the end of this row. At the end of the row, you'll place your last double crochets, you're going to chain 1, and the first bracket up is done. So what you're going to do is you're going to work the second bracket up, and then I'll show you what to do next once we have both bracket ups. You make a chain of 40 before you fasten off this bracket up. So we had already chained 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 39, 40. Chain 1 to secure your work and cut your yarn. Now I'm going to let you do the second bracket up, but for the second bracket up, make sure this chain that we have made on this side should be on the left side, because this is the right side of our bracket up and this is the wrong side of the bracket up. Now go ahead and make the second bracket up, and then I'll show you what to do next once we have both of them. Okay, so I finished making the second bracket up, and we are going to attach it to the second one. So you're going to chain 1 and attach it to the other side of the bracket up. You're going to insert your hook into the first stitch and slip stitch. Now you're going to go into both of the loops on both bracket ups and slip stitch. You'll be slip stitching, but also how you attach your bracket ups, it doesn't matter. I'm sure everyone has a way of doing that. And into the last stitch, the third one, you're going to slip stitch. You're going to chain 1 to secure your work and cut your yarn. So at this point, your bracket is attached. Your brackets are attached together. Don't worry about this loose end. You'll weave it in later. Now we are going to make a chain of 40 on this other side, like we did on this one. Okay, you're going to grab your yarn, make a slip knot, and you're going to attach your yarn into that very first stitch at the corner. You'll make a slip knot, you'll slip stitch. Now you're going to make the chain 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So once you have your chain of 40, you're going to add 2 more chains, 1, 2, and you're going to place stitch markers into the 20th chain from the bracket. You count 20 chains and put a stitch marker. You do the same on this side. So now you're going to single crochet to the 3rd stitch from hook and single crochet into each of the chains all the way to the stitch marker. And when you reach the stitch marker, I'll show you what to do. When you arrive at the stitch marker, into that chain, you're going to go in with half double crochet. You place 1 half double crochet and put back your chain, your stitch marker, and you're going to continue half double crocheting into each of the chains all the way to the first corner of the bracket. So go ahead and place half double crochet into each chain. Arrive at the end of the chain, you should have 20 stitches from the stitch marker. So into that very first double crochet at the bottom of the bracket, you're going to go in with 2 half double crochets. And into that space, you go in with 2 double crochets, 2 half double crochets, and 2 half double crochets into each of the stitches at the bottom. You're going to go in with half double crochets all the way to this stitch before the space, and I'll show you what to do. So I'm arriving that space. Into that space, I'll place 2 half double crochets, just like we did here, and I'm going to chain 3. I'll skip over these 2 bottom stitches where we joined the brackets from and work 2 half double crochets into that space on the second bracket. and you're going to continue placing 2 half double crochets into the rest of the stitches until the end of the this bracket, and then on the chains till the stitch marker you go in with 1 half double crochet and then single crochets into the rest of the remaining chains, just like we did on this side. Okay, so go ahead and do that and I'll get back. Now I'm arriving the end of my row and I have 2 stitches left. I'll place my last 2 single crochets. I'm going to chain 1 to secure my work, and I'll cut the yarn and then pull tight. So now what we are going to do is you're going to make a slip knot, and you are going to find the first stitch marker. You're going to remove it and attach your yarn into that half double crochet, and you are going to slip stitch. You're going to chain 2, counts as a double crochet. You're going to double crochet into the next stitch and double crochet into the next and double crochet into the next. You're going to double crochet into each of the stitches until you reach the chain 3. You just go in with double crochets. Now go ahead and do that, and we meet up when you reach the chain 3. When you arrive the chain 3 space, you're going to chain 2. You'll chain 3 and single crochet into that space, chain 3 and double crochet into the next stitch. Okay, now you're going to keep double crocheting into each of the stitches across until you arrive your second stitch marker with double crochets. And what we are going to do is we are going to ignore the single crochets at the end of the chain. You're just going to work till the stitch marker, and we are going to turn our work and continue. So I'm arriving the end of my row, and at that last stitch where the stitch marker was, I'll place my last double crochet and I'm going to turn my work. We are going to be working to the opposite direction. You're going to chain 3. You're going to skip the next 1, 2, 3 stitches, and you're going to place a double crochet into the next 3 stitches. 1, 2 and 3, chain 3, skip 1, 2, 3 and double crochet into the 4th, then in the next 2. You'll chain 3, skip the next 3 stitches and double crochet into the 4th stitch, and it's what you're going to do until you reach this, the end of the first bracket. So I've arrived towards the end of the first bracket. I have 3 stitches left and I've chained 3. I'm going to place 2 double crochets into that chain 3. You'll skip the 3 chains and make 2 double crochets into the chain 3, and then you're going to make 2 more double crochets in the next chain 3, and then you're going to chain 3, skip the next 3 chains and double crochet into the 4th, and then double crochet into the next 2 stitches. Chain 3, skip 1 2 3 and double crochet into the 4th, and you're going to repeat till the end of the row. So go ahead and do that, and then we meet up at the end of the row. So I'm at the end of the row and I'm left with 1 2 3 stitches. To balance the other side, we are going to chain 3, and then you're going to skip the next 2 and double crochet on top of the last stitch. And we have balanced on the other side. You're going to turn your work and chain 3. This counts as our first double crochet. You're going to go in with 2 more double crochets, chain 3, skip the 3 stitches and place 3 double crochets into the chain 3, chain 3, skip over the 3 stitches and place 3 double crochets in the chain 3, chain 3, skip over the next 3 stitches and double crochet 3 times in the next chain 3. Repeat that until you reach the middle section of your bra cups. And when you arrive the middle stitches, you are going to go directly into the next chain 3 space with 3 double crochets. You skip over the two stitches in the middle. Go in with 3 double crochets in the next chain 3, and you're going to continue the pattern, chaining 3 and double crocheting 3 times into the chain 3 spaces, skipping over the 3 stitches. Do that till the end, and into that last stitch, into that last chain 3, you're going to go in with 3 double crochets. You're going to turn your work and you're going to chain 3. You're going to skip over the rest of the next stitches and place 3 double crochets into the chain 3 space, chain 3, skip over the 3 double crochets and place 3 double crochets in the next chain 3, chain 3, and repeat that. Skip 3 of the stitches and place double crochets into the next chain 3. Repeat that until you reach the middle section of your bra cup. Arrived to the middle section, I'm going to skip over the 6 stitches and place 3 double crochets into the next chain 3, like so. and you're going to continue the pattern to the end of the row. And when you arrive at the end of the row, for the next row, you're going to repeat what you have been doing until you reach the middle section, and then we are going to do something a bit different when we arrive here in the next row. Now go ahead and we meet up in the next row. So I worked my rows for placing 3 double crochets into the chain 3 spaces, and I've arrived at the middle stage of the bralette. I'm just going to go in with 3 double crochets into that space, chain 1, and add 3 more double crochets into the same space, and into the next chain 3 you're just going to go in with 3 double crochets, chain 3, and you're going to continue with the pattern to the end of the row. And for our last row, I finished the row with 3 double crochets, so I'm going to turn my work, and you're going to chain 1. This will not count as a stitch, and into the very next chain 3 you're going to go in with 4 double crochets, 2, 3, and 4. Find that middle stitch in the 3 double crochets. You're going to single crochet, double crochet 4 times into the next chain 3, and find the 3rd stitch, which is the middle stitch. In the next stitches you're going to single crochet, double crochet 4 times in the next chain 3, and single crochet into the 3rd stitch of the double crochets. You're going to double crochet 4 times in the next chain 3, single crochet on top of the 3rd stitch of the next double crochets, and continue doing that. And when you arrive the middle stitches, what you're going to do is you're going to go into that very first double crochet in the middle. You place a double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet in the next double crochet, chain 1, double crochet in the next. Those are 3, chain 1, and double crochet into the next, double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the next, chain 1, double crochet into the next, and you have all the 6 stitches, but this time chaining 1 in between. And you're going to single crochet into the 3rd stitch of the next stitches, and then you're going to double crochet 4 times into the next chain 3 stitch. The next chain 3. Find the middle stitch and single crochet, double crochet 4 times in the next chain 3, find the middle stitch and single crochet, double crochet 4 times, so at the last stitch I placed my last 4 double crochets. I'm going to skip over the 2 double crochets and slip stitch on top of the last stitch. You're going to chain 1 and you're going to half double crochet, single crochet 2 times into that last stitch, and then single crochet 2 times in the next stitch, single crochet 2 times into the next stitch, single crochet 2 times into the next stitch. We are single crocheting on the edge of the bralette on the sides and single crochet into the last stitch twice. You're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn. Turn on this side and find and make a slip knot, then find the very first stitch, make a slip knot, slip stitch, chain 1 and place 2 more single crochets into that very stitch and 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 2 single crochets into the next stitch, 2 single crochets into the next, and 2 single crochets into the last stitch. You'll chain 1 and cut your yarn, pull that through, and at this point your brack up is done. What you're going to do next for the stripes, this is going to act like a stripe as well, but you're going to make a chain of 100 like we did for the neck stripes, and then you're going to turn your work. You're going to turn your work upside down and go into these spaces with a stripe. I'm going to make my stripe off camera, then I'll get back to you. Okay, so I'm back with my stripe and I'm going to insert it into that very first loop on both sides, and you're just going to go in and out of the loops, in and out of the spaces. And your brack up is done. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up and see you again in the next video.